I have absolutely bombshell news this afternoon. Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East, who is actively negotiating the peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, has been caught in a newly released phone call between himself and a senior Russian government official, talking to the government official about how to tell Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, to handle Donald Trump. This is a stunning phone call transcript that we're going to dive right into, and it actually underscores how foreign leaders are actively currying favor with the president of the United States through flattery and other methods, and how the president's own advisors, like Steve Witkoff, who are actively negotiating on behalf of you, the American people, are telling foreign leaders to handle or deal with his boss, the president of the United States of America. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because this is one of the bigger stories, especially in light of what we've seen over the past week as it relates to Russia, Ukraine, and the Trump administration's ongoing efforts to settle a war that has been going on for several years now. So Bloomberg first reported this phone call. It was an October 14th phone call, lasted about 5 minutes. Witkoff was advising Yuri Ushakov, who is Vladimir Putin's top foreign policy aide, on how the Russian leader should broach the issue with Trump. Witkoff suggested setting up a Trump-Putin call before President Zelensky's visit and using the Gaza agreement as a way in. Here's the transcript. This is between Ushakov and Dmitriev. Well, we need the maximum, don't you think? What do you think? Otherwise, what's the point of passing anything on? No, look, I think we'll just make this paper from our position and I'll informally pass it along, making clear that it's all informal and let it do it on their own. Well, that's exactly the point. No. They go back and forth. But at the end, it goes, yeah, it seems to me you can talk later with Steve about this paper. We will do everything rapidly. Now, let's go to the call between Steve Witkoff and Donald Trump. Steve Witkoff and Yuri, the Russian foreign aide. Steve Witkoff goes, Yuri, here's what I would do. My recommendation. Yes, please. I would make the call and just reiterate that you congratulate the president on this achievement, that you supported it, that you respect that he is a man of peace, and you're just really glad to have seen it happen. So I would say that. I think from that, it's going to be a really good call, because let me tell you what I told the president. I told the president that the Russian Federation has always wanted a peace deal. That's my belief. I told the president I believe that. And here's one more thing. Zelensky is coming to the White House on Friday. Yuri goes, I know. Witkoff goes, I will go to that meeting because they want me there. But I think if possible, we have the call with your boss before Friday morning. Okay, Yuri goes, I got your advice. So I discuss that with my boss and then I come back to you. Okay. This is them discussing literally publicly about how to please Donald Trump to get this phone call on the books between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin ahead of a critical visit to the White House by President Zelensky. And I think that's a significant development, because I want you to take a step back and imagine if President Biden, his top aide, whoever was negotiating the peace deal, went to top Russian leaders, and said, you know what? Here's how you're going to handle the president of the United States of America. You're going to call, you're going to give him flattery, talk about how he is a peacemaker, and then you're going to get on a call days before President Zelensky comes to the White House and essentially pepper the United States president with compliments. Because that's what happened here. And it comes as there is significant kind of consternation over the future of Donald Trump's cabinet, specifically as it relates to this peace deal in Ukraine. There has been external, essentially, fighting between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the factions led by Vice President J.D. Vance over whose position for Ukraine will win out. At the same time, internally, CNN is reporting that there could be a major shakeup in the Trump cabinet as soon as early next year. There are reports that the president of the United States does not support or is not happy, essentially, with the way the economic messaging coming out of the White House is going right now. And as a result, we could see a shakeup in multiple departments. including the Secretary of Energy, including Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security, and more. And today we learned that essentially Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, could be on his way out. According to MS Now, and Carol Lenning, who's a great reporter, by the way, she is reporting that Donald Trump is actively considering pushing Kash Patel out of the White House, out of the job as FBI director. That would be a stunning situation. Why? Because Kash Patel serves in a nonpartisan role as FBI director. A period of 10 years is typically how long someone as FBI director serves. In this case, assuming Kash Patel is actually ousted next month, that could be one of the shortest tenures from an FBI director that the United States of America has ever seen. And it comes as the FBI has launched an investigation into the 6 Democratic lawmakers, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, Senator Mark Kelly, Representative Jason Crow, Representative Maggie Goodlander, and 2 other representatives over Chris Deluzio, other representatives over the PSA that those representatives released, calling on the United States Armed Forces to simply follow their oaths. And because of that, the FBI has now reached out to the offices of all 6 representatives, seeking to question them about essentially following their oaths, questioning them about the video they made. And it comes as Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, launched his own investigation that could lead to a court-martial of Senator Mark Kelly in the United States Pentagon, potentially recalling Mark Kelly back to active duty for court-martial on essentially sedition-related charges. That would be significant. That would be major news if they went through with the court-martial. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're going to see what happens next. I don't know what will happen next. But we have a top aide to the President of the United States actively negotiating with the Russian government, telling them how they can curry favor with Donald Trump. At the same time, you have a Secretary of Defense looking to prosecute members of Congress. And all the while, we have a major economic boycott that began today, November 25th. That's all the news right now. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you this evening, probably again, for another update. So stay tuned for more.